Katie B. Davis of Game On AM 550, FM 102.9, and streaming live on accessnorthga.com. As you all out there know, we're preempted for a while by Gwinnett Braves baseball that airs pretty much the same time on a nightly basis. We'll be back in full force come fall and football season. In the meantime, in between time, however, we want to bring you interviews with high school athletes, high school coaches, and the like in college as well, sort of keep us all on the up and up where sports are concerned in and around our region. We're joined today by Katie Scali, girls soccer coach at Flowery Branch High School. It's a Tuesday, and tonight they're going to take on Rome in a first-round state playoff game at Flowery Branch. Coach Scali, you all had an incredible regular season. How do you translate that into postseason success?
Well, I think that something we have talked about all week as we've been preparing is that we haven't had an easy year. We've played a tougher schedule, we've played tougher opponents, and we've really come into our own as a team, and we're using all of that as fuel and knowing that we've come back from being down, we've overcome and hung in with some really tough teams, and that has prepared us for the playoffs.
Talk about the makeup of your team, Coach Scali, from bench players to your top scorers. What is this team like?
Well, it's definitely a team that does not hang its hat on one superstar. We actually have 3 or 4 people in double digits with goals, I believe, at this point. We've got pretty even distribution amongst scorers. I think it's hard for other teams to look at our stats and say, who do we need to shut down? At any given time, someone else is going to step up and make the play. Really strong midfield for us. Most of our scoring has actually come from our midfield, and we have a lot of versatility and a lot of depth. We have at least 5 or 6 players that I can sub at any time and not lose a step. That's going to be one of our advantages this evening as well.
Coach, I like it that you say that you don't really even know who the top scorers are, how many double-digit scores you have. Well, the reason is because it means that's not important. What's important is whoever has the biggest score at the end of the game, whichever team does. And I appreciate that. And clearly, your girls feed off that, right?
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, we haven't had a lot of runaway games this year. Compared to last year, we had a lot of games where we won 7, 8, 9, 10 to nothing, which, is a great confidence booster, but it's also showing that your team is not being challenged. And this year, like I said, we tried to create a tougher schedule. We knew that we weren't going to have the numbers, and we've flown under the radar a little bit because of that. But, I'll take tying Collins Hill 0-0 than beating up on a little mountain school 10-0 any day. And that's the kind of program and kind of schedule that we want to have here, that we may not have the best record, we may not put up the biggest numbers, but we know we can hang in with the best teams in the state.
That's a fantastic thing. Strength of schedule always does so much for a team, even if, like you said, you're tying or losing the games. Sometimes moral victories are just as important as actual victories. Let's talk about tonight's opponent, Rome. The first thing I want to know is this, Coach. How important is it that you all are playing at home tonight?
Well, I think it's always a great advantage to be at home, to be in your comfort zone. It gives you that mental edge, and you got that aspect of we don't want someone to come in here and show us up in our own field. Hopefully we'll get a good little crowd, which, for soccer is not saying a whole lot. We have a small crowd usually, but we definitely like our own field. We like to stay at home. The girls come to my room after school. We have something to eat. We talk. We watch film, and just relax in our own home field. It's a lot better than being on the bus going to Rome for 2.5 hours, for sure. But I think we also have a little bit more pride in what's going to happen because it is our home. So I think they're ready for a little bit of redemption from last year's first-round loss as well. We don't want someone to come in here and shock us, and I think that they're definitely ready. So definitely.
A lot of lessons learned from last year, a lot of lessons learned throughout a tough regular season schedule, tough region schedule, and all of those good things. Tell me about Rome. What kind of team are you all facing tonight? Well,
I saw Rome play. I got lots of reports on Rome. They're definitely big. They have size as an advantage. They definitely move the ball well. They are smart players, and it's a very senior-heavy team. So we know that it's going to be a tough challenge. No team full of seniors wants to come in and play their last game in the first round of the playoffs. So I think that those are their big advantages. That they've got seniors that are going to be driven. They have good ball skill. They have physical probably advantage as far as size goes. I think some of our advantages, however, though, we're deeper than them. We have more players who can play off the bench than they do, and I think that in the long run of the game, we'll be able to wear them down with our depth and our speed. So we're just going to try to hang in as long as we can and keep plugging and not hope for an instant gratification. May not score right away, but we can wear them down in the end.
And everyone who's ever watched the game of soccer knows how big of a factor fatigue can be, at least for if you're the team who gets fatigued easily, and clearly your team not in that category with the depth you have. What do you think is going to be the difference tonight, Coach?
I think, just like you said, fitness is going to be the difference maker, and being able to count on substitutes to come in and play their role and play it well. Sometimes I think starters, the pride of being a starter kind of overshadows the fact that your bench players, your substitutes, play a really important role, even if it's just that they go in for 10 minutes. You're getting someone else a little bit of a break and keeping their legs just that much fresher, and being able to rotate people in consistently and keep your team fresh. Like I said, I think that really will be the difference maker for us tonight, that we'll be able to hang in longer than them.
Well, here's hoping what hanging in means is making it to the second round of the state playoffs. It's always great talking to you, Coach Katie Scali. I appreciate you being on with me, and I hope that we get to talk to you after a first-round victory heading into round two.
Absolutely. That's my hope as well. Thank you for having me.